Now we return to local news with Roz.
Campaigners battling to retain a historic pub in the heart of Winchmoor Hill fear that they are witnessing the beginning of the end of the landmark building as they know it. Mike McLean and his wife Sharon have been in the vanguard of the battle to preserve the Green Dragon on the corner of Vickersmoor Lane and Green Lanes since the building was sold to developers earlier this year. After 2 failed bids to secure assets of community value status for the pub that has existed on or near its current site since 1726, the campaigners were devastated when they saw that the developers, Green Lanes Investment, has submitted a planning application. The plans reveal that Green Lanes Investment is hoping to build 7 3-bed, 3-storey townhouses on the site. All 7 homes would have sun terraces to the front and back, as well as off-street parking. The plans also show that the developers also want to convert the pub into a shop with a 2-storey near extension for flats, storage and staff facilities. Although the application has yet to be determined, Mike fears that the boardings erected around the car park at the site of the pub could be the first sign of the developers with intent of ploughing ahead with their plans. The developers have submitted their planning application and now they seem to be positioning themselves to start building immediately, he said. We have not given up hope because so many people have put in their objections to the planning application. People have a lot of grounds to object. If this major development went ahead, combined with the Cycle Enfield scheme, it would be total chaos in Green Lanes. Mike said that even though the applications for ACV status were rejected, that does not necessarily mean that the fight is lost. We haven't given up, he added. There was a case of a pub in Cambridge called the Golden Lion where even after their ACV status was rejected, an enlightened planning officer saw that the development was significantly exposing a change of use precedent to make profits from the developing houses on that site. A decision on whether the Green Lanes investment planning application will be given is provisionally set for November the 6th.
3 gorgeous swans had to be rescued by firefighters after they were chased down the River Lee by an aggressive gang of swans. Desperate to get away, the swan and her 2 cygnets climbed inside holes at the bottom of 2 separate lock gates on the River Lee, but were unable to turn around and free themselves. Panicked, they both forced part of their bodies through a smaller hole at the end of the lock gates, but became trapped at the Tottenham Lock in Ferry Lane. Onlookers called the Shepperton Swan Sanctuary, but its staff were unable to free the animals, so the fire brigade were called. The lock gates were kept open during the rescue to stop the river from filling the lock and drowning the trapped birds. Firefighter Mike Cotton said it took about 10 minutes to release each bird. They were okay, but distressed and tired. There is no way the swans would have freed themselves without our assistance.
Those on low income could see less help coming their way in paying their council tax. Enfield Council has launched a consultation on proposals to reduce the subsidy for low-income working-age families as part of next year's council tax support scheme. It is asking residents for their views on options to help the neediest families. An earlier national system, the Council Tax Benefit Scheme, was axed in 2013 under welfare reforms brought in by the coalition government. This meant councils had to introduce their own schemes to help households on low incomes with their council tax. Councillor Andrew Stafford, Enfield Council's Cabinet Member for Finance, said, "When the government abolished the National Council Tax Benefit Scheme, they also reduced the money available to pay for it, leaving Enfield Council with a £5 million shortfall in funding. Since then, we have seen further cuts to our funding. We have tried to protect CTS claimants from these reductions, but we can no longer keep the subsidy at its current level without significant cuts to services and/or increases in council tax." However, the Council is not proposing to change the subsidy for pensioners and other protected groups. Councillor Stafford added, despite the funding reductions, we want to strike a balance between providing an affordable scheme and giving those in most need some financial support. So we have proposed a number of different options. We want to know what local people think of our proposals and the different options. Please complete the survey, which is accompanied by an information sheet to give further information on the scheme. The consultation, which ends at 5 p.m. on Friday, December the 18th, can be found at www.enfield.gov.uk/CTS consultation, or in libraries and other reception centres.
A new campaign to encourage parents to adopt an older child into their family has been launched. People in Enfield are being urged to help children get the support, love and care they need from the charity Barnardo's. Figures show older children wait 50% longer to be adopted, and the Too Old at 4 campaign is being run as part of National Adoption Week. Between the ages of 4 and 5, the time a child waits to find a new family rises dramatically. Children who enter care before their first birthday wait 2 years to be adopted, and by the time they turn 5, they will wait over 3 years. The charity is also calling on people to consider adopting siblings and disabled children. To find out more, please visit barnardos.org.uk/adoption or phone 0800 0277 280.
Proposed cuts to the Archives and Museum Service will undermine Enfield's culture, an expert has claimed. Responding to a consultation, Arts Council-funded Regional Museums Development Manager Ben Travers said the further cuts envisaged would cause disproportionate harm to the Council's cultural offer, relative to the costs involved in continuing the service. Enfield Council is proposing to scan resources from the local studies centre and make them available online, as well as change access to the archives in the Dugdale Centre in London Road, Enfield Town, to appointment only, and is also looking at reducing the museum space by closing the temporary exhibition area on the ground floor. Mr. Travers said that plans to concentrate on the marooned permanent display upstairs would lead to far fewer visitors, and predicted that the service would quickly stagnate. He said the World War I exhibition and current weddings display, which are on course to bring in 40,000 visitors over 2 years, underlines the shop window value of having such an excellent museum in the ground floor space, ensuring solid business for the cafe and bringing in potential custom for the theatre, art gallery and conference rooms. He said that the proposed loss of the ground floor exhibition space would lead to a significant impoverishment of the cultural offer provided and to the demise of a vibrant and much-loved service. Last year's visitor numbers of 24,781, an increase from 15,784 in 2011 to 12, the museum's first year in the Dugdale, were very respectable, Mr. Travers added. He highlighted work by staff for Black History Month, Holocaust Memorial Day, and the Council's 50th anniversary celebrations. The lack of any budget for the one remaining staff member would make it impossible to stage any activities or programmes, he said. A council spokesman said, "We welcome the wide range of views expressed regarding the future of the library and museum service, and we are pleased so many people have shown an interest in sharing their views with us. As with all consultations, no decisions have yet been taken, and we will take into account all the comments people have made before reaching a decision."
Plans to create 630 extra school places across Enfield by 2019 are set to be approved. Enfield Council's Cabinet is due to discuss proposals to create an additional 330 primary school places and a further 300 for secondary school pupils at a meeting soon. Councillors will be asked to approve the strategy for providing extra classes and to keep a 62.8 million budget allocation, including 43.3 million of government grants to cover the programme. Since 2010, the Council has created 4,410 extra primary school places already to meet demand. A council report prepared for the Cabinet said that the demand for primary school places between 2015 and 2018 was likely to be higher than previous projections, and the demand for secondary schools was likely to peak in 2023. The Council said it already had funding and plans in place to cope with the expected increase in school places. According to the report, the Council needs to provide an extra 11 primary forms with a further 10 secondary school forms by the start of the school year in September 2019. The report also said that the school expansion programme is already providing an extra 1,890 primary school places, or 9 forms of entry. Gonal Daniels, who campaigns for extra school places in the borough, said, "The more places that we have in Enfield, then the more choice is given to parents. It's about local children being able to go to local schools, and where the places are actually provided is as important." Mrs. Daniels, who contested Edmonton for the Conservative Party in this year's general election, added that location was crucial, especially if children were being encouraged to walk to school. Aoife Orhan, the Cabinet Member for Education, Children's Services and Protection, said, "When schools are expanded, we ensure that they are well equipped to teach the full range of subjects, with specialist classrooms, expert teachers and innovation in all fields." She added that the Council worked closely with head teachers and school governors to decide the best way to expand schools to meet demand.
One was branded a witch and hanged in the 17th century, the other a missionary who travelled to China against all odds in the 20th century. You can discover the lives of 2 very different Edmonton women, Elizabeth Sawyer and Gladys Aylward, in an epic musical journey, The Determined and Damned, which is the latest production by local theatre company Into Action. It is the group's most ambitious project to date, including especially written lyrics, a live band, films, clips and animation. Annie Small, artistic director of Face Front Inclusive Theatre, which runs the group, says, "They felt people reviewed Edmonton in quite a negative way and they wanted to find some inspiration. So they did a lot of research and these were the 2 they had a connection with." The group, which started in 2011, hunted for information at Enfield Museum, Archive and Library, and the show reenacts their search, first travelling back to the 15th century to hear the story of Elizabeth, the infamous witch of Edmonton. Anne, who is one of 3 actresses playing Elizabeth, says, "It's always more fun to act a wicked part, but in this case she was labelled a witch because she was alien, unusual. When I came to live in the area in 1959, my family was considered to be all those things, and it was very lonely. With Into Action, it's all in the name. A lot of our members are isolated in some way. They are older people or have disabilities or are young people who felt they are not listened to. So a lot of them felt akin to Elizabeth, who was pushed aside and bullied. The production features a cast of 25. The oldest actor taking to the stage is Lydia, who's 90, who is one of 3 people playing Gladys, a dyslexic parlour maid who wanted to travel to China as a missionary but was turned down by the church but decided to go anyway. Annie says when she got there, she learnt Chinese, quelled a prison riot, saved 100 orphans and helped a lot of women. What she achieved and her strength of will was truly inspirational. The production can be seen at Dugdale Centre, Thomas Hardy House, London Road, Enfield, from October the 28th to the 29th. Details can be found on the dugdalecentre.co.uk or ring 0208 807 6680.
A bakery which joined forces with an Enfield charity proved it is the best thing since sliced bread. Warburton's won the Charity Times Award for the support it gives to the Enfield Citizens Advice Bureau, based in Nags Head Road. The bakery was named champion in the Corporate Community Local Involvement category. As part of the Warburton's National Families Matter programme, the firm donated a total of £20,000 to Enfield Citizens Advice Bureau over the course of 2 years. Donations helped support initiatives including the Carers Benefits and Employment Advice Service, which helps unpaid carers in Enfield. Money has also helped pay to build new interview rooms at the CAB Centre. Jill Harrison, the Chief Executive of Enfield Citizens Advice Bureau, said, "Each year we help over 12,000 families in Enfield get their lives back on track, and it is the generous support from companies like Warburton's that helps keep our charity running. The help Warburton's has given to us has made a difference to so many lives. I'm glad that we can finally give something back in the form of public acknowledgement of their great work."
The leader of a health watchdog believes it has made a difference since it was set up 2 years ago. Health Watch Enfield was launched in September 2013 and has witnessed a major shift in health services in Enfield. The Enfield Independent spoke to its chief executive, Lorna Reith, following the group's annual conference. Ms. Reith said, "We have made an impact in the area. We still need to do more in reaching out to those people who have home care, but we are getting there." The watchdog came into being as Chase Farm Hospital was downgraded, losing its accident and emergency and maternity wards. Ms. Reith recalls there was a lot of trepidation when the move was made to open an urgent care centre at the hospital in place of the A&E. She said, "Overall, people were very concerned when the A&E closed. We said we would monitor what is going on. Since December 2013, we have had data on our website, and then we brought out the report a few months ago. Hopefully people found that reassuring." The report found there had not been a boom in numbers at North Middlesex University Hospital's A&E, as predicted, but that services still needed to improve. Speaking about the challenges facing the borough, Ms. Reith believes more needs to be done in mental health services for Enfield residents. She said, "We are aware of the pressures on the mental health services and the lack of support in the community to really provide a service to people. Whether the Mental Health Trust is funded sufficiently, it is hard to say, but it is a service that gets left behind." The watchdog came out on the attack earlier this year about the services provided for deaf people and condemned hospital treatment of deaf patients. She said, "Not enough was being done for them. People were being given the wrong medication without them knowing." However, North Middlesex Hospital is now reassessing its services to deaf patients, something Ms. Reith believes is the biggest victory for the watchdog. She added, "We hope we have made a difference, even if it's just on small things, but at the same time, crucial services."
A group of job seekers are hoping a work placement at a water treatment works will leave them flushed with success. The 8 unemployed people spent 3 weeks on a work placement at Thames Water Deepham's sewage works at Pickett's Lock in Edmonton to gain key workplace skills, and some of them have already been offered job interviews. They were involved in a range of activities, including monitoring equipment, carrying out risk assessments, helping to erect security fences, and keeping the site off Pickett's Lock Lane safe. Team members who were recruited by Enfield Job Centre were also given help in writing their CVs and advice in getting ready for job interviews. They were presented with certificates on Friday for completing Thames Water's Give Someone a Start scheme, as well as an all-important reference. They also had a chance to pick up career tips from the Energy and Utility Skills organisation, which helps companies attract and develop new talent. Amar Qureshi, Thames Water's projects director, said, "I'm really proud to be involved in this scheme, but let's not forget the 8 candidates are the real stars in this. They are an inspiration. They embraced this opportunity and really made the most of it." Candidate Kevin Buckingham said, "I feel like my old self. This course has given me back my life." The scheme has been running since 2012 to help long-term unemployed people get a step up on the career ladder.
Nearly 40% of all jobs in the borough pay below the living wage, the second highest total in London. Figures from the annual survey of hours and earnings show that in 2014, an estimated 38% of people in Enfield fell below the living wage. Only Harrow's rate, 42%, was higher. Enfield was also in the top 20 areas in the UK for number of people earning less than the living wage. An estimated 5.9 million jobs were paid below the living wage in the country last year. Sarah Vero from the Living Wage Foundation, which campaigns for a pay standard that covers the basic cost of living, said, "These figures demonstrate that while the economy may be recovering as a whole, there is a real problem with ensuring everyone benefits. The southeast of England, London and Scotland had the lowest rate of jobs below the living wage, all at 19%. Northern Ireland had the highest, at 29%.
Selection is now underway for candidates for the next Youth Parliament in Enfield. After 2 years, during which Enfield Borough's current Youth Parliament have represented young people, 18 schools and 3 youth centres are selecting up to 5 new candidates for election. A list is set to be announced this week, with voting in schools due to take place between November the 16th and 26th. The results will be announced by Returning Officer for the elections, Councillor Aifa Orhan, Enfield Council's Cabinet Member for Education, Children's Services and Protection. Councillor Orhan said, "Selecting candidates is the first important step in the election process. It tests vision, presentation, persuasiveness, and the desire to represent young people. It is an exciting time for young people in our schools who will experience this process. Selected candidates will be expected to produce statements about their vision for the young people in Enfield. The Parliament scrutinises the Council over its policies for young people in the borough. The 2015 elections will be the third Enfield Youth Parliament elections. More than 9,000 young people voted at the last 2 ballots. Councillor Orhan added, "The contribution made by the Enfield Youth Parliament is invaluable because it gives the Council real insight into the concerns of younger residents. They also elect 2 members and 2 deputy members onto the national UK Youth Parliament to represent Enfield's youth on the national stage. We must take notice of our young people. They are the next generation of leaders."
An MP is leading a movement to battle government plans to relax Sunday trading hours. David Burrows, the Conservative MP for Enfield Southgate, revealed to the Advertiser that he is currently in the process of trying to dissuade the government from giving shops more freedom on how long they open for on Sundays. Under current laws, larger shops of more than 280 square metres can only open on Sundays for 6 consecutive hours between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. However, in George Osborne's July budget, the Chancellor announced that the government would look into relaxing those laws. and the details will be debated in Parliament today as a law giving councils the power to allow big retailers to open for longer is included as an amendment to the Cities Bill, which has already completed its passage through the House of Lords. Mr Burrows said he will be leading a backbench rebellion against the government and hopes to defeat any debate on the issue by bringing together cross-party opposition to the bill from about 20 Conservative MPs as well as Labour figures who fear longer working hours could affect workers' rights. Mr Burrows, a Christian and father of 6, said that his opposition to the plans were twofold. He said, "At the moment we have a happy British compromise. If you want to shop, you can, but it does not put additional pressure on retail workers who would feel obliged to work if their employer was open for longer." He added that local high streets could be put under pressure if big retailers were given the freedom to open longer. At the minute, it is a boost to the small shops that they can trade for longer on a Sunday, giving them the edge over the out-of-town retailers. This is about supporting my local high street and about supporting local retail workers. However, Erdal Mehmet, who owns G. Mentala Jewellers, an independent business in Church Street, Enfield Town, has a different reason for his opposition to the relaxation in the laws. He made the choice not to open on Sundays because he believes this is his family time. "I only open on Sundays in December because if we didn't, we would be losing out on big business," he said. "In my opinion, there are enough hours in the 6 other days of the week to do everything. And with the internet, people can shop 24 hours a day if they want to, so extending Sunday hours is not really a help to high streets. I think if the law was relaxed, there would be more pressure to open on Sundays, but I certainly would not succumb to it."
We have reached the end of our programme for this week. Thank you for listening. So from the team of Sonia, Jenny, Ros, and Ian on the controls, and Alan, who has disappeared.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.